word in the newspaper.
I don't control the newspapers, and I don't intend to. I don't want to live in a country where politicians control the newspapers.
Got another video here that's going to blow your mind. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we got Mark Carney getting called out by the Globe and Mail about a 25-year contract going to 4 American companies. Can Mark Carney profit off the back end of this? You know where this is going. So first up, we got this one coming from Table Salt saying 338 now projects that with the exception of the city cores here in Greater Vancouver, CBC is pulling to sweep BC, including Vancouver Island. So I live on Vancouver Island. There's a lot of NDP nutcases out here, but yes, the Conservative Party is sweeping out here. If we take a look at this map of Canada, as we see, it's all blue over here now, which is great. And just yesterday, I showed you guys this. This was light blue. Now it's becoming dark blue. Now this is my riding. You see, we're hopefully going to get Conservative here. But even in places around Victoria, which have always been NDP, I mean, look at this. Conservatives, Saanich Gulf Islands, this is Elizabeth May's riding. Esquimalt Saanich Sooke, this is an NDP riding. Conservatives now leading. Going over to the mainland here, Vancouver, we've got Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge, 45%. We've got Chilliwack, Hope, 50%. We're getting a change here in Canada. Let's keep pushing. Got this one coming from Canada Proud. A new leaked document from the Privy Council suggests that Canada's economy could get so bad in 15 years, poor people might have to be hunting and foraging for food. This was posted on Blacklock Reporter's own X account as well. This is getting out of control. Like, our country is falling into despair. Got this one from Marty up north saying, what's going on here? Klaus Schwab resigns immediately. The Pope is dead. So the Pope dead at 88 years old. He died, I believe, of a heart attack. Mark Carney sinking in the polls. And speaking of the WF, listen to this. So Mark Carney in PEI takes a shot and mocks Canadians that I guess were heckling him.
And through the family now, serving as counselors. It's okay. We'll get to the World Economic Forum in a moment, guys. I'm just getting my. Sorry, just waiting, listening for the orders coming. Oh no, some things never change.
This guy's unbelievable.
Move on. You got to move on. Move on. We got to move on as a nation.
No, Canadians need to move on from you, Carney. This guy clearly despises Conservatives in Canada. Got this one from Josh Ryan here saying Carney government says that they gave some Canadians more carbon tax rebate than they're entitled to, and now the government wants the money back. Got a carbon tax rebate. CRA says some Canadians will need to return a portion of their carbon tax rebate. This whole thing is an absolute clown show. What's next? They'll tell us we need to return the GST we apparently saved during the GST holiday. I wouldn't be surprised. We got Mark Carney posting this one himself. Carney urges Canadian healthcare workers in US to come home. Why would they do that, Mark? You guys pushed them out. You literally fired them from their jobs. Now they're working abroad and making a lot more money. Why would they come home? You guys screwed Canada over. This meme sums it up. Next up in this bombshell news here with the Globe and Mail. So Mark Carney gets asked about this. Look at his body language. So I mentioned it before, when he gets a question he doesn't like, he steps away from the mic. He goes side to side. He looks down at the ground. I made a joke before saying he's like looking for a mouse underneath his little podium, and he won't give eye contact to the reporter. He does all of this in spades. So as Ryan Garrettson says, Carney gets called out about awarding a 25-year contract to 4 American tech companies.
Government procurement as a response to U.S. tariff threats and actions. The Globe reported this morning that on the issue of cloud computing and data storage, the government is planning to lock in for 25 years an arrangement with several U.S. multinationals on that, and that this has raised some concerns from other companies, and this is expressed in government documents. Do you share that concern, and are you planning any action to kind of reduce the federal government's reliance on these large U.S. tech giants to just deliver government services here in Canada?
Yeah, it's an interesting. Thank you for the question. Look, my government will undertake a comprehensive review of government procurement, for several reasons. First and foremost, value for money and the effectiveness of that. Secondly, and I won't go into all the details, I spent a day on it, on defense procurement and being more effective and having a bigger impact domestically in Canada, being more rapid given the rising security needs, but also with respect to your question, in terms of having maximum economic impact, buying Canadian where possible, or having a strategy that develops an ability to buy Canadian. So we have it in defense as we're building out with Europe on Rearm Europe. Again, a bigger discussion we should have. I don't think there's been enough focus on the progress we've made there. But with respect to technology, we have many strengths in this area, including in artificial intelligence, intelligence infrastructure, data infrastructure. And the question is, how do we strategically develop this as a country? How do we go from where we are today, which is too high dependence on U.S. providers, to a more balanced approach, greater diversification, including greater domestically? So you've asked a very fundamental strategic question. I share the strategic objectives of that. And it is an important element of our economic strategy.
This guy gave a big word salad answer to a question he didn't want to answer. He babbled on bullcrap endlessly. I can't even stay tuned in and keep drifting anytime he speaks. I think that sums it up for everyone here. Is it just me, or Carney just talk about strategic action necessary here and then goes on to say absolutely nothing about it? Oh man, Canada's in trouble if he's elected PM. I thought it was elbows up. Mark Carney said he didn't want to get into the details, but I'm going to get into the details. So we already know Mark Carney has ties directly to Elon Musk through Twitter, Tesla, the Boring Company, while he was chair of Brookfield Asset Management. He funded these projects. But what the Globe brought up here today is Brookfield infrastructure partner projects. This shows all the direct connections between Brookfield and what Mark Carney just got called out on. The article in question here is this one from the Globe and Mail. So it goes on to talk about how the documents reveal that technology leaders expressed numerous concerns to the public service about a competition that is currently in progress to provide the government with cloud computing services for over the next 25 years. These are 25-year contracts that the Liberal government was locking in here. It says federal government has already shortlisted 4 companies: Amazon Web Services Canada, American company; Google Cloud Canada Corporation, American company; Microsoft Corporation, American company; Oracle Canada, ULC, American company. Shared Services Canada says Ottawa should not be locked into 25-year contracts through the process that would have an option of using these selected companies for specific tasks during that period. A March 2024 document summarized comments provided by industry include a list of concerns. The documents were obtained through access information request by Ottawa researcher Ken Rubin. They do not reveal the names of the industry participants who made the comments. Common theme is a concern that competition did not award extra points for genuine Canadian companies as opposed to Canadian affiliates of US-based multinationals. Several of the comments accuse government of defining the requirements in a narrow way that favors a small number of large companies that do large volumes of business with Ottawa, like all those big American companies. Goes on to say here, it makes no logical sense to limit the government of Canada options to only 2 cloud vendors for decades, adding that such an approach risks creating huge financial, security, and operational risks for the government, according to the document summarizing industry feedback. So essentially, if Mark Carney is Justin Trudeau's financial advisor, they're pushing to have these 4 American companies locked in for 25 years, offering AI infrastructure, cloud computing, data center solutions. Now, if we look at Brookfield Infrastructure Partners here, they own 5 different companies that provide data services, AI infrastructure, all of this. They've got Compass Data Centers. It says in June 2023, BIP, Brookfield Infrastructure Partners, alongside Ontario's Teachers Pension Plan, acquired Compass Data Centers from Redbird Capital Partners and Azerial Group. BIP took a controlling stake for approximately $1.35 billion, with BIP's equity portion around $375 million. So we see that here, Brookfield Infrastructure and Ontario Teachers acquire Compass Data Centers. We also have another press release here verifying that Brookfield also has Center Square Data Center in North America. That's where they operate. See here. So it mentions them right here. Brookfield Infrastructure rapidly building this scale showcases our platform's ability to partner with management to increase capacity, both organically and inorganically, to meet diverse and growing demands of our customers. Brookfield Infrastructure Global Centers portfolio includes DIC data centers in APAC, Data 4 in Europe, and hyperscale operator Compass Data Centers in North America, which is this one here. As I just mentioned, there's also Data 4 here in France, right on Brookfield's own website here. So Brookfield invested $20 billion in France's AI infrastructure. Paris headquartered Data 4. I mean, this is not small money. This is 20 billion euros, about $30 billion Canadian. Going back to our chart here, so we've got this one, Ascenti Data Center in Latin America. This is the largest data center in Latin America. Established in 2010, Ascenti is Latin America's largest data center provider. Company currently has 34 units in operation under construction, Brazil, Mexico, Chile, and Colombia. It's right on the website here. Ascenti is backed by its shareholders, Brookfield Infrastructure Partners, a Canadian asset management company. And going back, we've also got this one, Digital Connection. This is a data center in India. So we've got right here Brookfield Infra Digital Reality Setup Center JV first project launch in January. So now that we've established that Brookfield has all these data centers and they probably have more of them, how does Brookfield make money with the Liberal Party then setting up Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Oracle to get these 25-year contracts? Well, if we look at the connection between here, Brookfield can lease their buildings to these companies. They can build data centers for them. They can provide green energy, and Brookfield will also be the source of trusted contracts between these four big monster companies and Canada. So a 25-year government contract means multi-decade infrastructure projects, predictable revenue streams for Brookfield for 25 years, a guaranteed market for expansion in high trust sector, federal IT and cloud, and long-term green contracts, including the 10.5 gigawatt Microsoft Brookfield renewables deal. Now, this deal that I just mentioned there is right here. So we connect that straight up from both Brookfield partners directly to Microsoft. We've got this one. So big tech firm farms out AI power build, keeps the risk. So this article says trillion-dollar companies like Meta, Alphabet, Amazon are signing up chunky supply deals for their power-hungry AI data centers. Microsoft 10.5 gigawatt framework agreement with Canada's Brookfield Asset Management signed in May is a case in point. Outsourcing the power build to third parties is a logical way to meet the vast electricity needs, but big tech is still wearing the financial risk. So this is a perfect example of what connects both the Liberal Party and these companies, these big tech giants, to Brookfield Asset Management for 25 years of reliable income. And guess who profits off it? Not only Brookfield, but Mark Carney. Mark Carney, based on the price, currently has $6.8 million in stock options. If we take a look at this filing here by the SEC in America, this is coming directly from the SEC.gov, United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Just so you can see here, Brookfield Asset Management. So this is a big document, but we go to Carney. So you can see Mark Carney's name over here on the left side. As it lists here, he has 209,300 stock options at $35.13. He has 200,000 more at $40.07. And take a look at the dates here. So these expire on February 15th, 2033 and February 15th, 2034. Now, if we look at the values here, $3.9 million and $2.8 million, a total of $6.8 million. So to sum this up, basically how this works is Mark Carney can buy Brookfield stock, 209,000 of them at $35, doesn't matter what the price is, all the way up until 2033. And then you can buy an additional 200,000 stocks at $40.07 up until 2034. So it's in Mark Carney's best interest, financial interest, to jack the value of Brookfield, because then he can go in and buy those stocks at that low price, and then he could sell them and make huge profits. So that's what that number is on the side, the $6.8 million. I believe that's on a price of $54. Brookfield's stock price is always jumping up and down. I believe right now it's to $49. And just going back a month or two, it was $60. So if Mark Carney's able to help out Brookfield, double the stock price to $100 or $150 or whatever, he will easily make 20, 30, 40, $50 million off of those stock options. This is a massive conflict of interest. I don't understand under a current system here, why wouldn't he be disqualified for running for Prime Minister of Canada? Unless he sells all his shares and he's not able to buy those stocks, those stock options. He should not be allowed to execute that. That needs to be removed. This is like absurd that this whole situation is going on. Clearly he has a conflict of interest. Moving back over to Mark Carney's press conference, he gets blasted on his platform. Pay attention to his body language. He's looking for that mouse again underneath his podium. He doesn't like this question.
And then a question about your platform and the bottom line. So under Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin, the Liberal Party took a lot of pride in focusing on balancing the budget, and when we balanced keeping it there. I think a lot of people were kind of hoping that your leadership would mark a return to that focus for the party. That doesn't seem to be the case in the platform. There's no reference to ever balancing the budget. And you are suggesting you will walk away from the fiscal anchor that the government stated just as recently as December, which was to keep the deficit below 1% of GDP. So what do you say to Liberals and Canadians who are disappointed to see that direction?
Well, this is a fundamentally different approach. This is an entirely new government. It's a fundamentally different approach. Okay, first thing. It is an approach that does two things. First, it gets government spending under control. So if you go back to the previous government, this spending was growing at 9%. We're going to grow spending over the course of the next 2 years, or 4 years, sorry, at 2%. 9%, 2%. Huge shift in terms of control on spending, bearing down on spending, getting that, and getting that operating spending balanced over the course of the next 3 years.
This guy's absurd. He's rapidly increasing the spending. He's doing some clever accounting tricks and trying to fool Canadians. We're not dumb.
The second element that's different, fundamentally different, that meets the moment,
Oh, please.
is that we are in a crisis. We are in a crisis, the worst crisis of our lifetimes, including the fiscal crisis that Mr. Chrétien and Mr. Martin faced, because we are in a fundamental reordering of our relationship with the United States and the global economy.
This guy's entire platform is crisis, crisis, crisis. Fundamental. We must catalyze crisis. Carney is the crisis. How can he stand there and say he's lowered the spending from 2% to 9% with a straight face? My grandkid could do the math. Next up, we got a clip here with Pierre Poilievre where reporters demanding why stuff isn't covered in a newspaper. Poilievre gives it to him straight.
We've had synagogues firebombed. Well, I just gave you a bunch of examples, sir. And
none of those covered in the newspaper.
no, I don't control the newspapers. I don't control the newspapers, sir. And I don't intend to. I don't want to live in a country where politicians control the newspapers. I believe in freedom of speech. But my mission is to, when I become prime minister, to ensure that there are no anti-Semitic riots for the newspapers to write about. Let's make this a safe country again.
Checkmate.
All right. How about one more round of applause for the leader of the opposition, the Conservative Party leader?
Quite the day there. Mark Carney caught in another conflict of interest, another scandal. How many scandals will it take for Liberals to change their mind on who they're going to vote for?